recognize these are brutal and scary times, but here's our message to the American people. The House Democrats stand with you.
That was House Minority Whip Catherine Clark speaking in Leesburg, Virginia today. House Democrats are there. They do this every year, spend 3 days to look at their legislative agenda and their methodology to try to move forward with whatever that agenda is. Hunter Woodall is covering this for us, coming to us from Leesburg, Virginia. Hunter, always good to see you. So give the audience a readout, the temperature gauge. What's the sense there?
Major, most of this conference so far is happening behind closed doors. But I will say to the Democrats I've talked to, the sense here is obviously there was this big sense that they wanted to look at what happened in 2024 and try and improve, try and come back from the issues that they've seen. Now, how exactly they do that still remains that big question. And you look at the list of speakers and, obviously this House Democrat conference, especially after voting against that GOP funding bill ahead of this government shutdown deadline on Friday, there's still a lot of tension here, and there's a lot of questions about how exactly they fight back against Donald Trump and congressional Republicans.
Is there a fear, Hunter, that you've detected at all about Democrats, House or Senate, because most Americans aren't going to distinguish between the two, being blamed if there is a shutdown?
That's the big question, Major, is how much, Democrats obviously in this whole process, it's been clear. Congressional Republicans were going to need Democrats' support in some way, especially in the Senate, given the Senate's, filibuster threshold for most legislation. But when I talked to congressional Republicans, they made that big point, hey, we have a trifecta, we think we can do this alone. But the whole time, they were going to need Democrats' support. So I think House Democrats, they keep saying, hey, we don't want to shut the government down. They obviously, though, just voted against, in the House, the big plan to actually fund the government ahead of this deadline. That's that big question of, okay, will they actually follow through on this? And how are they going to feel if they had a role in shutting down the government come Friday?
What's the sense of Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, and his role in helping House Democrats come out of the wilderness, if there is one that they're in?
Major, when I talk to Democrats, not just here, in Congress, but also Democrats, within the DNC, the Democratic National Committee at large, the big sense has been, Hakeem Jeffries is the leader of the Democratic Party right now. He is the face of the Democratic Party, ahead of the 2028 presidential election, obviously ahead of the 2026 midterms. Though the thing is, when you look at who's on the speaker list for this Democratic, House conference here, you have 3 governors: Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania, Governor Beshear of Kentucky, and Governor Whitmer of Michigan. Most of the resistance to Donald Trump and what Republicans are doing in Washington is coming from Democratic governors. And that's a big change from obviously what we saw in 2017 when Donald Trump and Republicans were in power.
Hunter Woodall, thank you very, very much.